Hi friends, welcome to my channel. I'm Juan the Yarn Addict, and this is week number 3 of my fall crochet along for what I am calling the Autumn Aspirations throw. To date, we've completed 26 rounds in the square, and for this week, we will turn our work 45 degrees and create corners on the diagonal, otherwise known as the bias of our work. So this is what it looks like. So for week 3, we will have 18 rows. Our setup for week 3 will begin under stitch number 47 in round number 25. So this white row here is row number 26 or round number 26. So we will be working in the round right before the last round. Okay, so for week 3, we will begin under stitch number 47 in round 25. Be sure to count your stitches from the corner to the center before placing your stitch marker. I would also suggest counting from the opposite corner just to make sure you are in fact centered and ready to begin week number 3. So feel free to color change as often as you'd like. You do not have to follow my color sequence. Above all, make sure you're having fun with your project. Okay, so links to the videos for weeks 1 and 2 are located in the show notes for you to reference. Each weekly pattern is available for a free download during the duration of the cowl. So at the conclusion of the cowl, this may be subject to change. Please check my Ravelry for the most up-to-date information. Before we begin, just a few short reminders to not forget to hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit like and also share the video. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get this tutorial started. Enjoy and have fun. Okay, so once you have your stitch marker placed where it's supposed to be, which is between 47 and 48, we're going to take our project and turn it so that the back is facing up. We're going to flip it over, just like that. And we are going to be working the stitch directly underneath the stitch marker. So for me, it's right here. And we are going to anchor our yarn to that stitch. So to begin, what we need to do is create a slip knot on our hook. So however you do this is absolutely fine. This is how I do it. Once you have your slip knot, we're going to go in and around the stitch. We're going to yarn over, pull through, and we're going to slip right into our slip knot, just like that. From here, we are going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. From here, we are going to go into the first chain with the tip of our hook, draw a loop, and slip to close. And we have a very small circle. We are going to work our project out of this circle here, okay? So from here, what we need to do is chain 1, just like that. And now what we need to do is front post slip stitch into the next 3 stitches. So directly next door here, we're going to go in and around, draw a loop, and slip. There's 1 slip, and make sure your tension's nice and tight. Go into the next stitch, slip, that's 2. Go into the next one, and slip, that's 3. Okay, so we have 3 front post slip stitches, and from here what we need to do is chain 1 and turn our work. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's turn our work over to the front. And so this is what it should look like. And so from here, what we're going to do is we are going to call these rows. So for week 3, we are going to work rows since we are creating a corner here, okay? So keep this folded down so you can see what's going on while you're in the front. So for row number 1, we are going to do 3 double crochets into this chain space, all right? So let's go ahead and do that. Just very carefully find your center of the circle there. Let's go ahead and do double crochets, 3 of them. That's 1, that's 2, and that's 3. From here, we're going to chain 2, And we're going to go back into this circle here with 3 more double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Okay? So from here, what we need to do is skip the next 3 stitches and then back post slip stitch into the next 3 stitches after that. So let's just recap that. Let's move that tail out of the way. All right, so here's the stitch marker, right? So we are going to skip, skip, and skip. We're skipping those 3. From here, we're going to go into the next one here and back post slip stitch into this stitch here. So we're going to go in and around, draw a loop, and slip, just like that. There's 1. We're going to do it again in the next stitch. Go in and around, draw up a loop, and slip. That's 2. Let's go in and around, draw a loop, very carefully, and slip. That's 3. So from here, we are going to chain 1 and turn our work. Okay, so as you notice, we are anchoring our stitches as we go along. Okay, so for row number 2, we're working in the back side. Okay, so for row number 2, we're going to insert 3 double crochets in the very first double crochet of the previous round. So this stitch right here is the first double crochet. So let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit so we can see this a little closer. So we are going to insert 3 double crochets in this very first stitch here. It's 1, 2, and 3. We're going to insert 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. Just like that. And then in the apex here, the chain space, we're going to insert 2 doubles, chain 2, and 2 doubles. So that's 1 double, that's 2 doubles. We're going to chain 2, and we're going to go right back into our apex, that chain space there, with 2 more double crochets. From here, we are going to go ahead and insert 1 double in the next 2 stitches here. And then in the last double crochet, we're going to go ahead and insert 3 double crochets in that stitch. 1, oops, 2, and 3. So that is what we are looking like so far. And then from here, we are going to skip the next 3 stitches and then front post slip stitch into the next 3 stitches. So from here, we are going to just look for our stitches. As you can see, that's where we were last at there. So skip, skip, and skip. And then we are going to front post slip stitch in the 4th one here. So we're going to go in and around, draw up a loop, and slip to close. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. So there you have it. That is the end of row number 2. To start row number 3, what we need to do is chain 1 and turn our work. We are going to be working on the front. Okay, so for row number 3, we are going to insert 3 double crochets in the first stitch here. So this is the first stitch, 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. So we are going to skip 1 stitch, and we're going to go into the next stitch with a popcorn. So the popcorn is 5 double crochets in that stitch here. Let's go ahead and do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we have 5 doubles there. I'm going to make a bunny ear. I'm going to come to the first one. I'm going to go in the bunny ear, tug on my working yarn, slip through, chain 1 to lock, just like that. Okay, we're also going to chain 1 to move on, and we are going to skip the next stitch, go into the next one here with a popcorn. 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to make a bunny ear. I'm going to go into the first stitch, go into the bunny ear, gently tug on our working yarn, slip, chain 1 to lock, chain 1 to move on. I'm going to skip the next stitch, and I'm going to insert a popcorn in the last stitch there. 5 double crochets. There we go. I'm going to make a bunny ear. I'm going to go into the first stitch, go into the bunny ear, slip to close, chain 1 to lock, chain 1 to move on, and then in the apex we're going to do 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. Two doubles, chain 2, and we're going to go back into our apex with 2 doubles. 1 and 2, just like that. Okay, very, very nice. So we are going to go into this very next stitch here with a popcorn. 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Make a bunny ear, go into the first stitch, go into the bunny ear, tug on the working yarn, pull through, chain 1 to lock, chain 1 to move on, skip the next stitch, go into the following stitch with a popcorn. Three, 4, and 5. Make a bunny ear, go in, pull the working yarn, chain 1 to lock, chain 1 to move on. We are going to skip the next stitch, go into the next one here with a popcorn. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 1 to lock, chain 1 to move on. We are going to skip the next stitch and go into the last one with 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. So let's just take a quick look at our work here. And this actually will become the lip that covers all of the anchors. Okay, it's very, very nice. Okay, so from here I'm going to change color. So while you're working week 3, when you do your color changes, you're going to have to change color right at your last stitch. Okay, so I'm going to pull my hook out. I'm going to pull that last stitch out. I'm going to insert my hook, and I'm going to yarn over, go into that last stitch, draw a loop, yarn over, go through 2 only, and from here I'm going to change my color. So I will be going to my olive color. I'm going to hook my new yarn and pull through the last 2 loops, just like that. And from here, I'm going to tie my tails. So just going to cut and tie my tails, just like that. Okay. So from here, we are going to just pull more yarn first. Okay. So from here, we are going to skip the next 3 stitches. So this is where we were last anchored at. We're going to skip, 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 and then we're going to go into the 4th stitch with a back post slip stitch. And we're going to slip just like that. Okay. So we are going to back post slip stitch into the next 3 stitches. So there's 1, let's grab that second one there, that's 2, and that's 3. Okay, so from here we are going to chain 1 and turn our work. Lots of turning happening. Okay, so from here, what we are going to do for row 4, we are going to insert 3 double crochets in the very first stitch. It's 1, 2, and 3. So from here, what we're going to do is insert a double crochet cross in the next 2 stitches. So we're going to yarn over, go into this second stitch with a double, yarn over and come back to the skipped stitch to perform that double crochet cross, just like that. From here, we are going to go and perform another double crochet cross, but this time it's going to be around each popcorn. Okay? Let's go to the far side, and then come to the near side with a double. And it creates that double crochet cross. So let's go ahead and do that again. So there's 2. We're going to go ahead and do that again around this popcorn. Just like that. Okay. So we are going to go ahead and do another double crochet cross into these 2 stitches here. And then in the apex, we're going to go ahead and do 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. 1, 2, chain 2, let's swivel around here. We're going to go into our apex with 2 doubles. Oops. There we go. Okay. From here, we're going to insert a double crochet cross in the next 2 stitches. And then from here, around each one of these 3 popcorns. Here's 1 cross. Here's 2. And then 3. Okay, let's get my yarn situated here. Okay, so we have 3 stitches remaining, and we're going to perform a double crochet across in the first 2 stitches here. Just like that. From here, we're going to insert 3 double crochets in the last stitch. And there's the third one there. Okay. Very, very nice. So from here, we are going to skip the next 3 stitches. Let me just reorganize here. All right, so we are going to skip the next 2 stitches actually, sorry. So we're going to skip the next 2 stitches, and then we are going to front post slip stitch into the next 3 stitches. So skip 2, go into the third one, front post slip, just like that, front post slip, front post slip, just like that. Okay, so from here what we want to do is chain 1 and turn. Okay, so that is what we are looking like so far. Okay, so for row number 5, we're going to angle our work just like this. And we're going to go into this very first stitch with 3 double crochets. It's 1, 2, and 3. From here, we're going to go in between the next 2 stitches. So we're going to do twins in a stitch, but in between. So it's 2 double crochets right in between. It's 1, and that's 2, just like that. From here, we're going to go inside each one of these crosses with 2 double crochets. So from here, we're just going to jump right into the cross with a double crochet. And then we're going to go back in with another one. Twins in the crosses. Just like this. There we go. Perfect. One and 2. We're going to go into the next one here with twins. And then for these last 2 stitches, we're going to go in between them with 2 doubles. Just like that. In the apex, it's going to be 2 double crochets. 1, 2. Chain 2. We're going to swivel our work around. And we're going to go back into the apex with 2 double crochets. From here, we're going to go in between these 2 double crochets with 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. From here, we're going to repeat what we did on this side here. We're going to go inside these crosses with 2 double crochets apiece. It's 1 completed. So there's 1 double, here's the second one. And here's another pair. I'm just going to keep going down the side here, inserting 2 doubles inside of every cross. Yep. little splitty there. Okay. So from here, once your crosses are done, we're at the cluster of 3 doubles. So we're going to jump right in between the first 2. And inside there, we're going to insert 2 double crochets. From here, we're going to go to the last stitch of the row with 3 double crochets. That's 1, that's 2, and for this third one, I'm only going to do it halfway because I am going to change color. So just like that. Okay, so the color I am going to change to is gold. Let me just grab my color here. I'm going to hook the new color on, slip it through, and as always, I'm going to tie my tails. Okay. And there you have it. Perfect. So that concludes row number 5. Okay, so before moving on to row number 6, what we need to do is anchor our stitches. So from here, what we need to do is skip the next 2 stitches. And we're going to anchor into the 3rd stitch with a back post slip stitch. So we're going to come in and around the back and do our slip just like that. Just mind your tension, make sure it's nice and tight. We're going to go into the next one. Very carefully. It's a little tricky. It may take you a try or 2 in order to get it. There we go. There's 2. And let's go in and around a 3rd time in that 3rd stitch. There we go. So we've anchored 3 stitches. From here, what we need to do is chain 1 and turn our work. So for row 6, we are going to be working in the back. Okay, so for row number 6, we're going to insert 3 double crochets in the 1st stitch. There's 1. There's 2. And there is 3. From here, we're going to insert a front post double crochet in each stitch until the apex. So every stitch, front post double crochet. So continue on with this, inserting a front post double crochet in each stitch until we get to the apex. And I'll see you right here in just a moment. Okay, so I am at the apex here, and in the apex we are going to insert 2 double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 double crochets right back into that apex. Just like that. From here, we're going to continue inserting front post double crochets in every stitch until we get to the last stitch. So continue on with this, inserting a front post double crochet in each stitch for this particular side until we get to the last stitch. And I shall see you there in just a moment. Okay, so I've arrived at the end of the row. I have 1 stitch remaining, and in this stitch I'm going to insert 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and I'm going to be changing colors, so I'm only going to do half of this stitch. So I'm going to yarn over, go in, drop a loop, yarn over, only go through 2, and I'm going to pull my new color through here going to change over to this wonderful color here. And of course, I'm going to tie my tails. Okay, so now that I have my new color on here, I'm going to skip the next 2 stitches, so 1 and 2, and then from here I'm going to front post slip stitch in the next 2 stitches. So skip 2 and then front post slip stitch. 1 and 2. From here we're going to chain 1 and turn the work. Okay. All right. Let me just move the tails out of the way there. Okay. So from here, for row number 7, what we want to do is insert 3 half double crochets in the very first stitch of the 3 here. Just move that out of the way there. So 3 half double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. Perfect. So from here we're going to insert 1 half double crochet in the back loop of each stitch until we get to the apex. So half double crochet in the back loop, just like that. So continue on with this until we get to the apex, and I shall see you there in just a moment. Okay, so I've arrived at the apex, and in the apex we are going to insert 2 half double crochets, chain 2, let's swivel our work just a tad, and then go back into that apex with 2 half double crochets, 1 and 2. From here we're going to continue inserting half double crochets in the back loop of each stitch. So yarn over, go right into that first stitch, just like that. So continue doing this until we get to the last stitch of the side, and I should meet you there in just a second. Okay, so I have arrived to the last stitch, and in the last stitch here we're going to insert 3 half double crochets. So there's 1, there's 2, and I am going to be changing my color. So I'm only going to do half of this stitch. I've already cut off because I plan on changing. So I'm going to yarn over, go in, pull that loop through, and leave it as is, just like that. And I'm going to bring over my next color. I'm going to be putting on claret. So I'm going to go through all 3 loops, just like that. And I'm going to tie my tail. Okay, perfect. Okay, so from here what we need to do is anchor this row. So from here what we need to do is skip the next 2 stitches. So this was the last stitch worked. We're going to skip the next 2. Then we're going to go into this 3rd stitch here with the back post slip stitch. Let's go in and around the stitch and slip, and just pull nice and tight on your working yarn there to make sure that it's anchored. And then we're going to go next door here, in and around, and slip, and then come back down and around for a 3rd time. Sometimes it will slip off. It's a little tricky. Here we go. Perfect. Okay. So from here, we're just going to chain one and turn our work. But before I do, let me just give you a quick look. Look at how nice that is looking. Super, super nice. Love that. Okay. So let's go ahead and turn our work to the back side. Okay. Don't mind the tails. I will sew them in eventually. Okay, so for row 8, we are going to insert 3 double crochets in the first stitch right here. 3 doubles. 1, 2, and 3. 3 double crochets. From here, we're going to work into the next 2 stitches. We're going to do a double crochet 2 together. So yarn over, go in, drop a loop, yarn over, go through 2. We're going to do that one more time next door. From here, you should have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, go through all 3, and chain 1 to lock that. And then we're going to come next door here and do that all over again. Chain 1 to lock. So continue doing this all the way down the side until we get to the apex. I should see you there in just a moment. Just like that. Okay, I'll see you in just a second. Okay, so I am right before the apex. I have 1 stitch right there, and then I have the chain space. So to get around the apex here, this is what this is going to look like. So we're going to perform a double crochet 2 together, partially on the side and partially in the apex. So we're going to yarn over, go into that stitch, drop a loop, yarn over, go through 2, and then go into the apex to do the second one there. Just like that. We're going to yarn over, go through all 3, chain 1 to lock that, and then in the apex it's going to be 1 double crochet, chain 2, and then 1 double crochet. Just like that. So I'm going to swivel my work over to this side now. And from here, we are going to work a double crochet 2 together, starting in the apex. So we're going to chain 1, like we did on this side, and then yarn over and go into that apex and start the first half of the double crochet 2 together, and then go right into that first stitch right here. 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through all 3, just like that. And that's what the apex should look like. Nice, even, and balanced. Okay? So from here, we are going to continue doing double crochet 2 together for the side here. So continue doing that until you get to the very last stitch right here. Okay? So let's back up here and just work the double crochet 2 together. Like so, like that. Without slipping, preferably. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so continue doing that, and I will see you at the end of the row, right back here in just a moment. Okay, so I've arrived to the end of the row here, and in the last stitch, we're going to go ahead and insert 3 double crochets. I do plan on changing color. We're going to go to the white, so here is 1 double, here's 2, and then I'm only going to do half of this one here. I've already cut off. So let's go in, drop a loop, yarn over, and only go through 2. So from here, as I mentioned, I'm going to switch over to the white. Let me hook the white through those 2 loops, and then I'm going to tie my tails. Perfect. Okay, now we need to anchor the row. So, okay, now I have that out of the way. Perfect. Okay, so to anchor the row, what we need to do is skip the next 2 stitches, skip, skip, and then we're going to go into this third one here with a front post slip stitch into the next 3 stitches. So go in and slip. Let's just tug, make sure it's nice and tight. So that's 1, that's 2, and that's 3. Perfect. So we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. We're going to go to the front side. Okay. So for row number 9, we're going to go ahead and insert 3 double crochets in the very first stitch of the row, which is right here. I know it's kind of hard to see, but 3 double crochets in the first stitch. 1, 2, and 3. Perfect. So we're going to insert a front post double crochet in the second stitch from the previous row. So right here, second stitch, front post double crochet, just like that. Okay, so now from here we're going to insert a popcorn in between the double crochet 2 together from the previous row, chain 1 to lock only. So right here in this space we're going to insert a popcorn. So popcorn is 5 double crochets. It's 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to make a bunny ear, and then we're going to go ahead and insert our hook into that first stitch, go in the bunny ear, tighten up our tension and go through, and chain 1 to lock only. From here we're going to insert a V-stitch, a double crochet, chain 1 double crochet in the next space right here. And it should look like that. Okay, so from here we're going to go right back over to a popcorn in the next space. The next space right here, a popcorn. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Make a bunny ear, go in the first stitch there, go in the bunny ear, go through, chain 1 to lock only. Okay, so let me pull more yarn here. Okay, from here we're going to go into the next space with a V-stitch. It's a double, chain 1, and a double. So that's what it looks like, and you're going to alternate in between the spaces here. So it's going to be a popcorn, a V-stitch, a popcorn, a V-stitch. So continue doing this, and I will meet you at the apex in just a moment. Okay, so I've arrived to just before the apex here. I'm at the last double crochet 2 together, right before the apex. In this last space here, we're going to insert a V-stitch. So it's a double, chain 1, and then a double, just like that. So in the apex, we're going to go ahead and insert 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. So that's 1, that's 2, chain 2. We're going to swivel our work, go back into the space here with 2 doubles, just like that. Okay, so from here we're going to do exactly what we have here, but in the opposite direction. So from here we're going to go into the space between the double crochet and the double crochet 2 together. We're going to insert a V-stitch, double, chain 1, and a double. From here we're going to go into the next space with a popcorn. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Make a bunny ear, go in the first, go in the ear, chain 1 to lock only, and and then go into the next space with a V-stitch. So that is the repeat for the side. That's what it should look like. So continue repeating that pattern, popcorn V-stitch, in every space for the side, and I will see you at the end here in just a moment. Okay, so we are approaching the end of row number 9. I finished with the last popcorn, and so from here what we need to do is insert a front post double crochet in this very first stitch of the last 3. Perfect. And so from there, what we want to do is jump right over to the last stitch, which is right here. It's kind of hard to see, but in the last stitch, we're going to insert 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Just like that. Perfect. Very, very nice. Okay. So for the next row, row number 10, we are going to keep the same color on, and we are going to go ahead and anchor row 9 first. So what we're going to do is skip 2 stitches. So we last worked in that one there. So we're going to skip 2 stitches, and then we are going to do a back post slip stitch in the next one. Let's go ahead and slip just like that. All right, and then we're going to back post slip stitch into the next one. Just like that. From here, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Okay, lots of turning. Okay, so for row number 10, we are in the back, by the way. We're working in the back. So for row number 10, we're going to start with 3 single crochets in the first stitch. So there is the first stitch right there. 3 singles. 1, 2, and 3. Just like that. Okay, so we're going to insert 1 single crochet in each stitch and each chain space until the apex. So every single stitch and every chain space receives a single crochet. So that was the front post, and then in the popcorn, we're just going to go in the popcorn and out the top, come through, just do that. And then here's the V-stitch. So in the V-stitch, it's going to be a single, and then in the chain space, a single, and then on the other side of the V, a single. Go in and up the popcorn, single, and then in the V. Okay, so continue doing this, inserting 1 single crochet in every stitch and every chain space for the side. It should look like that. And I will see you at the apex in just a moment. Okay, so I am approaching the apex here. I have 2 stitches remaining here. So what we want to do is go ahead and insert a single in both of those stitches. In the apex, it's going to be 2 single crochets, chain 2. Let's swivel our work. In the apex here, 2 singles, 1 and 2. And in the next 2 stitches, 1 single apiece, 1 and 2. Oops. Just like that. Okay, so continue inserting single crochets into every stitch and every chain space for the side, and I will meet you down here at the very end of the row in just a moment. Okay, so I have arrived at the end of row number 10. I have 1 stitch remaining, and to save us time, I've already tied on the next color. So we are going to go ahead and insert 3 singles into the last stitch. Again, I've changed colors, so if you are changing colors, by all means, go ahead and do that. Make sure to tie your tails. Okay, So from here, what we need to do is anchor row number 10. So to do that, what we need to do is skip the next 2 stitches. So 1, 2, and then we're going to go into the 3rd stitch here and do a front post slip stitch. Just pull on your tension, make sure it's nice and tight. We're going to do that 2 more times. 1 and 2. From here, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. So we're going back to the front side. Let's move the tail out of the way there. Okay, so 3 double crochets into the very first stitch. 1, 2, and 3. So from here, we're going to insert an extended front post double crochet in the first stitch from row number 9. So this is row 10, this is row 9. So we're going to yarn over, come down and around, draw a loop, oops, draw a loop, yarn over, go through 1, go through 2, go through 2. From here, we're going to insert a double crochet in the next stitch. And then in this 3rd stitch here, we're going to insert the same stitch as this one here, an extended front post double crochet. Okay. So from here, we are going to do what's called an extended front post double crochet cross. So we are going to yarn over, come to this side of the popcorn and pick up this stitch, which is the closest side to the popcorn of the V-stitch. We're going to go in and around, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through 1, go through 2, go through 2. From here, we're going to chain 1, and then we are going to pick up this stitch right here. This is the front post double crochet from row 9. Yarn over, come down and around, and do an extended front post double crochet. Go through 1, go through 2, go through 2. And that's what it should look like. From here, we're going to go into the stitch right above the V-stitch, which is right here. And we are going to insert a double crochet, chain 1 double crochet. So a V-stitch. From here, we are going to repeat this process right here. So here's the popcorn. We're going to pick up this stitch and this stitch. We're going to cross them over. So yarn over, come down and around, pick this stitch up right here. Yarn over, go through 1, through 2, through 2. Chain 1, and then pick this stitch up. Yarn over, come over, draw a loop, yarn over, go through 1, through 2, through 2. In the V-stitch, the single right above, we're going to insert a V-stitch. Double, chain 1, double. And that's what it should look like, okay? So repeat this process all the way up the side, and I will meet you right before the apex right here, okay? Again, it's picking up these posts in a cross, and then in the stitch right above in the V-stitch, it's going to be a V-stitch here, okay? So continue with this, and I will see you in just a moment. Okay, so I have arrived to just before the apex here, and this is what we are looking like. Super, super nice. Okay. So from here, we are going to insert an extended front post double crochet cross in this stitch and in this stitch here. So we are going to yarn over, come down, and pick up the last stitch here and do an extended double crochet. We're going to chain 1, and then we're going to pick up this stitch right here, which is the other side of that V-stitch. So come down and pick that up. do an extended front post double crochet, just like that. So from here, we're going to jump right to the apex, this chain space, with 2 double crochets, chain 2, let's swivel our work, and we are going to go back into that chain space with 2 double crochets. Perfect. Okay, so for this side here, we're going to mirror what we just did. So we have the first 3 stitches here from row 9. We're going to create this extended front post double crochet cross. So we're going to yarn over, pick up this 3rd stitch, do an extended double crochet, front post of course, and then chain 1, then yarn over and come and pick up this last stitch. Extended front post double crochet, and it should look like that. From here, we're going to go to the single crochet in that V-stitch and perform a V-stitch. It's going to be a double, chain 1, and a double. And then from here, we are going to continue with the extended front post double crochet crosses on either side of the popcorns, and then in the V-stitch, that single crochet will now get a V-stitch, double crochet, chain 1, double. So let's go ahead and do one very quickly. So front post extended double crochet cross, chain 1, let's come to this side here, go through 1, through 2, through 2, super nice. And then from here, we're going to go into that single with a double, chain 1, and a double. Okay, so continue with that, and I shall see you at the end of the row right here in just a moment. Okay, so I have arrived towards the end of row number 11, and this is what it looks like. Tons of texture. It's very, very nice. It might just be one of my favorite rows so far. Okay, so let's continue on doing the extended front post double crochet cross around the popcorn. So let's go ahead, pick this up, do that, chain 1, and then come to this side here, front post extended double crochet cross, just like that. And so from here, what we're going to do is an extended front post double crochet, picking up this very first stitch here. Through 1, through 2, through 2. From here, we're going to go into the next stitch right here with a double crochet. And then from here, we're going to this last stitch of row number 9 with an extended front post double crochet. 1, 2, and 2, just like that. From here, we're going to go into the last stitch of the row with 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3, just like that. Okay, so now we need to anchor row 11 to our work. So to do that, what we need to do is skip the next 2 stitches, go into the 3rd stitch here with a back post slip stitch. So there's 1, make sure your tension's tight. Go to the next one, draw a loop. That's 2. Come next door here, and there's 3. So from there, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work to the back side. Okay. So for row number 12, we are going to do half double crochets. To start, we're going to go into the very first stitch with 3 half double crochets. There's one, there's two, and there's three. So every stitch on the side will receive a half double crochet, excluding the chain spaces, okay? So if it's a stitch, it's getting a half double crochet, just like this. Now, the double crochet crosses, the extended front post double crochet crosses, they had a chain space in between. We're not going to insert a stitch there. So on either side of that chain for the crosses, and then in the V's, only the stitches. Okay? Everything gets a half double crochet. So continue on with this, and I shall see you at the apex in just a moment, right here. Okay, so I have arrived at the apex, and in the apex it's going to be 2 half doubles, chain 2, we're going to swivel our work, and we're going to go back into that apex with 2 half doubles, 1 and 2. So from here we're going to continue on inserting a half double crochet in every stitch of the row, excluding the chain spaces. Okay, so continue on with this, and I shall see you at the end of the row. Okay, so I've arrived to the end of the row. This is what we are looking like here. Very, very nice. In the last stitch, we are going to insert 3 half double crochets. I am changing color after the third one. So there's 1, there's 2, and then for the third one, I'm just going to insert my hook and introduce or reintroduce a color here, gold, or mustard rather. Okay. From here, I'm going to tie my tails. Okay. There's that. Okay. So now we need to anchor the row. So to do this, what we need to do is skip 2 stitches and front post slip stitch into the next 3. So let's skip the next 2, go into the third one here with a front post slip stitch to anchor that in. Make sure it's nice and tight. 2 and 3. From here we are going to chain 1 and turn our work. Let's move the scissors out of the way. Okay. All right, so for row number 13, we're going to insert 3 double crochets in the first stitch. 1, 2, and 3, just like that. From here, we're going to do, let's see, a back loop double crochet in each stitch until the apex. So each stitch will have a double crochet in the back loop, just like this, until we get to the apex. So continue on with that, and I shall see you down here in just a moment. Okay, so I have arrived at the apex here, and so in the apex we're going to insert 2 double crochets, 1, 2, chain 2, and we're going to swivel around and go back into that apex there with 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. From here, we just need to make sure that this very first stitch here gets an upstairs neighbor. So let's go ahead and pick up that back loop there, just like that. And then continue on with the double crochets in the back loop for every stitch for the row. So continue on with this, and I will see you at the end of the row in just a moment. Okay, so I have arrived at the end of the row. This is row number 13. I have 1 stitch remaining, and in that stitch I'm going to go ahead and insert 3 double crochets. If I can get in there. There we go. 1, 2, and 3. Perfect. Okay, so we need to anchor this row down, and in order to do that, let's skip 2 stitches, and then we're going to do a back post slip stitch in the next 3. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Nice and tight on that tension. From here, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. I'm going to keep the color on for this next row. For row number 14, it is going to be a row of double crochets and front post double crochets. So in the first stitch right here, we're going to insert 3 double crochets, just like that. Now in each stitch here, we are going to insert a front post double crochet in each stitch until we get to the apex. Just like this. Very easy. So continue inserting front post double crochets in every stitch until you get to the apex. And in the apex, it's going to be 2 doubles, chain 2, and 2 doubles. So for good measure, continue with this, and I will meet you at the apex in just a moment. Okay, so I have arrived at the apex right here. For this is row 14. So in the apex, it's going to be 2 double crochets, chain 2, swivel the work. We're going to go back into that apex with 2 double crochets. From here, we're going to continue doing the front post double crochets in each stitch until the end of the row. In the last stitch of the row, we will go ahead and insert 3 double crochets in the last stitch. So continue with this, and I shall see you at the end of the row. Okay, so I have arrived at the end of row number 14. With 1 stitch remaining, I'm going to go ahead and insert 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and then for this third one, I'm only going to do half because I'm changing colors. I'm going to bring back the green. All right. So let's go ahead and bring in the green. Slip that through and tie the tails. Just like that, very easy. Okay, so we now need to anchor row number 14. So to do that, we're going to skip the next 2 stitches, and then we're going to do, let's see here, we're going to do a front post slip stitch into this third stitch, just like that. Let me go ahead and try that again. There we go. Okay. So there's that one, and then 2 more. 1 and 2. Okay, so from here we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Okay, so for row number 15, we are working in the front. This is the front of our work. And for the first stitch here, we are going to go ahead and insert 3 double crochets in the first stitch, which is right here. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so from here we're going to skip the next stitch. Then we're going to go into the following one with double crochet twins. So it's going to be 2 double crochets in the same stitch. From here, we're going to go ahead and skip the next one and repeat until the apex. So it's just going to be twins in a stitch in every other stitch until the apex. This is a very easy row by all accounts, considering some of the rows we've had. Very, very easy. So twins in a stitch in every other stitch until we get to the apex. So continue with that, and I shall see you in just a moment. Okay, so I am just before the apex with 2 stitches remaining. So we're going to skip a stitch and go into the last stitch there with twins in a stitch. And then in the apex, it's going to be 2 double crochets. Chain 2, we're going to swivel our work around and then go back into the apex there with 2 doubles, just like that. Okay, so in this very first stitch, we're going to go ahead and insert twins. And then we're going to repeat. So we're going to skip the next stitch and then go into the following one with twins in a stitch. Perfect. So twins in a stitch in every other stitch until the end of the row. Just like that. So continue on with that until we get to the end of the row, and I'll see you there in just a moment. Okay, I'm at the end of row number 15. So I did twins in a stitch. I'm going to skip the next stitch, and I should only have 1 stitch remaining, which I do. And in that last stitch, I'm going to go ahead and insert 3 double crochets. Just like that. Perfect. Very, very nice. Okay, so now we need to anchor row 15. So what we need to do now is skip the next 2 stitches, and then we need to do a back post slip stitch into the 3rd, just like that. And we need to pull on that tension, make sure it's nice and tight. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and do 2 more. Just 2 and 3. So 3 back post slip stitches to anchor the row in, and then we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. We're going to keep this olive color on. And so for row 16, we're working in the back, and we're going to go ahead and insert 3 doubles in the very first stitch. So it's 1, 2, and 3. And so from here, we're going to do double crochet crosses around all the twins until the apex. Okay, so of the 3 stitches, we have 2 remaining. So we're going to do a double crochet cross around both of those. Oops. Just like that. And then around each pairing of twins here, double crochet across, just like that. Going on the far side and then the near side, of course. And that's what it should look like. Okay, so continue on with that until we get to the apex, and I shall see you there in just a moment. Okay, so I have arrived to the apex here, and in the apex we're going to go ahead and insert 2 double crochets, chain 2 double crochets. So 1 double, 2 doubles, chain 2, let's swivel the work. We're going to go back in here with 2 double crochets. Okay, so from here we are going to continue hugging the pairs of stitches with double crochet crosses. Just like that. Every pair gets a double crochet cross above it. Okay, so continue on with this, and I shall see you at the end of the row in just a moment. Okay, so I have arrived almost at the end of the row here. I have 3 stitches remaining. So I'm going to pair the first 2 of the 3 with a double crochet cross. Just like that. And then in the last stitch, 3 double crochets. I will be changing colors, so this third double crochet will only be done halfway. Just like that. Okay, I'm going to bring up the next color, which is going to be the cream. So I'm going to loop that in, just like that. I'm going to tie my tails. Let's pull this nice and tight. There we go. Oops. Okay, so from here we need to anchor row number 16. So in order to do that, what we need to do is skip the next 2 stitches. Let's just, okay, here it is. Okay, skip, skip, go into the next one here. Front post slip stitch into that one and into the next 2. There we go. And from here we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Okay. So for row number 17, 3 double crochets in the very first stitch. Just like this. Okay, so from here, what we're going to do is insert, let's see here, 2 double crochets in each space between the double crochet crosses until the apex. So from here, we're going to jump right into this space with 2 double crochets. So twins next to the crosses. So 1 and 2. And then from here, we're going to jump into this space in between the crosses here. with 2 doubles. Very simple. And we're just going to continue on with that. 2 double crochets in between the crosses until we arrive at the apex. So continue with that, and I shall see you at the apex right here in just a moment, okay? Okay, so I'm at the apex, and in the apex we're going to go ahead and do 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. We're going to swivel our work, and then go in with 2 double crochets, just like that. From here, we're going to go ahead and go in between all of the spaces here with 2 double crochets, twins in the spaces, 2 double crochets in the spaces there. So continue on with this, and I shall see you at the end of the row. Okay, so I've arrived to the end of the row here. We have 1 stitch remaining, and in that last stitch we're going to go ahead and insert 3 double crochets. Okay, so from here what we need to do is anchor row number 17, and to do that we're going to do a back post slip stitch in the last stitch of the row there. So we're going to come in and go out and slip. Perfect. So from here what we want to do is chain 2 and turn our work. So we're going to turn over to the back side here. And so for the last row of the week, we are going to insert front post half double crochets in every stitch. So for this very first one, we're only going to insert 1 and not 3. Just like that. Front post half double crochet in every stitch until we get to the apex. So continue doing that, and I shall see you at the apex in just a moment. Okay, so I'm at the apex of the last row, and so in the apex we're going to go ahead and do 2 half double crochets, chain 2, we're going to swivel our work, and we are going to go ahead and go back into that apex with 2 half double crochets, just like that. From here we're going to continue inserting front post half double crochets in every stitch of the row. So continue with that, and I will see you at the end of the row in just a moment. Okay, so I have arrived to the end of the row here, and we're at the last stitch. So in the last stitch we're only going to insert 1 front post half double crochet, just like that. And from here we need to anchor the last row, and to do that we're going to go into the last stitch with a front post slip stitch, and I'm just going to slip like that. And from here we're going to chain 2. We're going to grab the scissors, cut, pull the hook away from our work, pinch and pull down to lock that in. And so those are all the rows for week number 3. So this here is the back. This is what the back looks like. Very, very nice. Let me go ahead and zoom out and flip the work over and show you what this looks like. Of course, I have to sew in all the ends. But yeah, it's very, very nice. This is the square to the bias. That's very, very nice. Okay, so that is all for week 3. I really hope that you enjoyed this. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment or 2, and also if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. So that is all for this one here, and until the next one, take care. Bye-bye.